for another Trinity video. We're talking about the energy of willingness tonight. And we've reached the point in our rotation where we're starting to repeat ourselves. You can go back on our YouTube channel and dig way back to the beginning of when we started recording these things, and you will find that there's already a clip on willingness. It's good stuff, and I think you should check it out. But I don't mind talking about willingness again, because I believe that willingness is one of the most powerful energies out there. And it's so simple. It's very simple. The technique that I'm going to give you today, you're going to say, well, that's not much of a technique. Don't let that fool you. It's a very small thing, but it's very powerful. Just like willingness. Very small thing, but very powerful. Willingness is a simple energy. It's basically just about saying yes to things. Why is that so powerful? Well, because it leads to opening all sorts of doors for you. My favorite story of willingness comes from years ago when I was a musician who went on a lot of gigs and ended up on stage quite often. And even though I had been doing it for a while and was fairly accomplished as a guitar player, I would still get crippling stage fright every once in a while. It wouldn't always be the first song. You'd go out on stage, you'd be pumped, be ready to play, yeah. And then the second song would hit, and this fear would grip you. I don't even know what a D chord looks like all of a sudden. And your mind would go blank, and your hands would become like lead, and you'd fumble with the strings. It's pretty devastating to get to that sudden place where you're hit by this huge wave of fear or judgment or uncertainty about yourself. Willingness is the answer. I started off thinking, well, I'm so scared I need to connect to courage. And I have a big piece of courage. And I would breathe in that courage. But I found that courage is an awful lot like standing up and daring somebody to hit you. Come on, hit me. Oh, yeah, hit me. And you just toughen yourself up and you take the hit and see if it can bounce off of you. I think it's pretty old after a while, just trying to batter your way through life like a ship smashing through polar ice. You don't want to do that. So instead, somebody mentioned to me, why don't you try willingness? And I did, and it's a wonderful, wonderful energy. Willingness got me through my stage fright, because I started thinking this is a lot like martial arts. You know, I relate everything back to martial arts. And in martial arts, you never face off against opponents square like this. You always want to blade off, they call it, splitting your stance so that one foot's closer to the opponent and one foot's further back from the opponent. This is any one of a number of martial arts' favorite stance, this sort of middle split stance. They have different stances, but this is the basic one. And it's so good because it allows you to absorb damage. Instead of just standing there and taking the blow like you would with courage, you're able to take a blow and kind of rock with it. Gives you about 6 to 8 inches of travel, and you can deaden any kick, any blow, even if you can't block it, even if you can't get out of the way. If it hits you, you can just kind of roll back with it. And that's what I started doing on stage when I'd get frightened. I'd do this little rock. Whew. Rock back, rock forward. I'll turn to the side, see if maybe you can see it better. I'm here, the blow comes at me. I just sort of take it. I go, yeah, come on, bring it on. Instead of fighting it, instead of trying to toughen up, instead of trying to bull my way forward, I just roll with it. Just that little rock. And I would start doing this whenever I get stuck, whenever my fingers would freeze up, whenever the stage fright would hit me. I'd just get this little rock going. And it reminded me of being in my martial arts stance. And I felt the willingness of saying, I'm not going to fight this thing. I'm just going to go with it. Just take the punch and roll with it. And that little rock is all I'm going to give you tonight. And you're thinking, well, that's not much at all. It's a lot. It's a tremendous amount. Because whenever life hits you with something, instead of trying to bull your way through it, instead of trying to resist it, instead of trying to get the one thing that you need out of this big pile of mess that you've been given, you just say, yeah, bring it on, and you roll with it. Just that little rock. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in a crowded elevator. You can do it while you're standing in front of a bunch of people giving a public address. Whenever you start to feel that the judgment or the fear or the frustration is gripping you so tight, you just bring a little willingness to it with this rock. And it frees you up. It's like breaking you out of your frozen stance. You're just deer in the headlights and you rock a little bit and everything opens up again. That's the joy of willingness. It opens everything up. Because every time you say, yeah, bring it on, instead of fighting, yeah, just bring it on, I'll just roll with it, you're saying yes. You're saying yes to the situation. The more you say yes, the happier you are. Because when you say yes, you're volunteering. Think about it. The things that you love to do in your life, you volunteer for them. The things that you don't like, you have to be forced or paid or tricked into doing. So if you say, yes, okay, I'll do it because I'm supposed to, you're going to have a miserable time. But if you say, yes, I want to do this, I'm volunteering, then you're having a great time. If your life was nothing but volunteering, you'd be doing all the things you want to do, right? Well, that's what willingness does for you. Every time you say, yeah, bring it on, and you just rock with that wave of stuff coming at you, instead of fighting it, you just roll with it. Just absorb it and move on. You're saying yes to the situation, which makes you a volunteer in every moment of your life. It's an amazing energy. Give it a try. If you like this stuff, stay tuned for more Trinity.